Hello, general biology students. This is our DNA basics video part 1. It's going to be split into 2 videos. Let's get to it. We're going to be discussing some basic vocabulary and basic concepts of DNA so that we can go further in depth later. First, we're going to discuss, why didn't this work? There we go. First, we're going to discuss the hierarchy of matter. This is a construct about what makes what in reality. And we're going to start with biomes. Biomes are huge regions of the planet that have similar abiotic factors that can host a wide variety of living things that are suited for those particular abiotic factors, like temperature and rainfall and sunlight. So all of these things, we're familiar with them: rainforests, grasslands, taigas. These are composed of ecosystems. These are regions within the biomes that are particular areas that have even closer related abiotic factors, and they're full of living things. Now, if we take the abiotic factors away and we just look at all the living things, all the different species that live in those ecosystems, those are the community of the ecosystems. And then if we just focus on one of those species and we look at all of the members of that species in that ecosystem, that is a population in that ecosystem. And then if we look at one living thing in that population, that is an organism in that population, like this cute little koala. And if we go inside of an organism, we're going to find organ systems, such as the skeletal system or the respiratory system or the muscular system. These are parts working together to do things for the organism. And if we zoom into the organ systems, we're going to find organs like livers and kidneys and brains that all have their own job within that organ system. And if we zoom into organs, we're going to find tissues, and there's different types of tissues: nervous tissue, epithelial tissue for skin, nervous tissue for brains and nerves, and connective tissue also for skin, but also for bones and muscles. And then we have muscle tissue itself. And if we zoom into these tissues, we're going to find cells. Cells are the smallest living thing on this list. Everything below this is not alive, and everything above this is alive. And once we look at those cells, we can zoom in and find the parts of the cell, which are called organelles, and they are performing different parts of the cell, just like organs are performing different parts for a body. And if we zoom into the organelles, we're going to find macromolecules. Now, this is a key level because it includes proteins and DNA, nucleic acid. That's what the NA of DNA stands for: proteins and DNA. And so we're going to come back to this level in a second. If we go below macromolecules, we have molecules such as water and methane and carbon dioxide and glucose. And these are what the macromolecules are made of. And these molecules are made of atoms, such as carbon and oxygen and hydrogen, and the atoms themselves are made of subatomic particles, such as protons, neutrons, and electrons. Well, we care about the macromolecule level and DNA and proteins because the genes in DNA determine the proteins that an organism make, which determines the traits that an organism has. And that can be all kinds of things. It can be chemical traits like elephants having low cancer risk. It can be materials like the ability to build spider silk, all kinds of things. But all of those traits come from proteins. And that's going to be the end of part 1. We're going to do part 2 in another video. I hope this helps. Struggle well.